My name is Reverend Dr. Staccato K Powell II, and I am a proud member and pastor in the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church, which is considered to be the Freedom Church, being that its members are bragged upon as being Harriet Tubman, or even Frederick Douglass, or Sojourner Truth. And I think it is incumbent upon us to include the history of the Black church because it has played a significant role in not just society as a whole, but also the civil rights movement all by itself. We can go all the way back to slavery as it relates to the invisible institution. During the slavery days, people of color were not allowed to worship God in spirit and in truth. And as a result, they had to create an invisible institution that would allow them to read God's word and meditate on it day in and day out and hide it in their hearts so that they might not sin against thee. The Black church, sometimes called Black Christianity or African American Christianity, is the faith and body of Christian denominations and congregations in the United States of America that predominantly minister to and are also led by African Americans, as well as these churches' collective traditions and members. The term Black church may also refer to individual congregations, including in traditionally white-led denominations. Black churches primarily arose in the 19th century, a time when race-based slavery and racial segregation were both common in the United States. Blacks generally sought an area for independent expression of faith, leadership, and escape from inferior treatment in white-dominated churches. These new Black churches created communities and worship practices that were culturally distinct from other churches. And in today's society, we have to be willing to embrace the new church. Church cannot be done the way it's been done in the past and expect people to be present. In fact, in this new church, we must be transparent with our issues, then be transitional in our intent so we can also be transformative in our impact. People are dealing with some serious issues that must be addressed, from financial issues to mental health issues to physical issues and primarily spiritual ones. The indigenous and going on to establish orphanages and prison ministries as a result of Black churches were particularly important during the Civil Rights Movement. Did you know that during the Civil Rights Movement, those who were like Dr. King and Ralph Abernathy and Jesse Jackson would meet in these churches to not just fellowship, but to mobilize the troops to get ready to engage in a battle that consisted of a worldwide war? Now, I have not launched a campaign as of yet as a candidate in the Democratic Party, but I am a candidate in the life of the AZ Zion Church as an episcopate to serve as a bishop. And I know that perseverance and those he or she who are willing to persevere will ultimately receive their crown. And that is why my slogan is persevere with power. And if we as a party are willing to persevere in the midst of persecution and those who try to separate us and keep us from being together and worshiping him as one. And I declare, with an open hand, we might make a smack, but with a closed one, we can strike a mighty blow. That's why we are the United States of America and not the divided states of America. Because united, there's strength in numbers, and there's power in people. Regardless of what creed, regardless of what nationality, regardless of what religious background, I study them all. I declare to you, by any means necessary, as Malcolm X would say, get there. But you've got to get there by any means. The Civil Rights Movement, Ralph David Abernathy, who was a Baptist minister involved in the American Civil Rights Movement. Black churches held a leadership role in the American Civil Rights Movement. Their history as leaders as centers of strength for the black community made them natural leaders in this moral struggle. And we are all partners in the struggle, but here we are in a new millennium. It's 2024. And who will we vote for? Who will we go for? Who will we go after? Well, Paul in Romans stated, therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, to make yourselves a living sacrifice. Why is therefore there? What is therefore? What is therefore? People like you and I. In the 50s and 60s, it was Dr. King and Ralph Abernathy and Jesse Jackson. But who's going to rise in this generation to ultimately lead us to the promised land? Well, I declare to you, if I have to go all by myself, you can put my name in the hat, Reverend Dr. Staccato K, Powell II, signed and delivered. Black liberation theology was first systemized by James Cone. Dwight Hopkins, they are considered the leading theologians of the system of belief. And although now there are many scholars who have contributed a great deal to the field, in 1969, Cone published a seminal work that laid the basis for black liberation theology, Black Theology and Black Power. And in the book, Cone asserted that not only was black power not alien to the gospel, it was in fact the gospel message for all of the 20th century America. The black church continues to be a source of support for members of the African American community. And when compared to American churches as a whole, black churches tend to focus more on social issues such as poverty, gang violence, drug use, prison ministries, and racism. A study in 1996 found that black Christians were more likely to have heard about health care reform from their pastors than were white Christians. Although black urban neighborhoods and cities that have deindustrialized may have suffered from civic disinvestment with lower quality schools, less effective policing, and fire protection, there are institutions that help to improve the physical and social capital of black neighborhoods. In black neighborhood churches, the may and be important sources of social cohesion for some African Americans. The kind of spiritually learned through these churches works as a protective factor against the corrosive forces of poverty and racism. Churches may also do work to improve the physical infrastructure of the neighborhood to eliminate classism. Churches in Harlem have undertaken real estate ventures and renovated burnt-out, abandoned brownstones to create new housing for residents. Churches have fought for the right to operate their own schools in place of the often inadequate public schools founded in many black neighborhoods. And in closing, we have to do what we have to do as community leaders and participants to not just be spectators, but full participators. So I charge and challenge you today to not just be spectators of the game, but get in the game and play. And play it to the end, knowing that in the end, we together shall win. Thank you, and have a blessed day.